step? Or will you leap?
What's up guys, DTM here. I know it's been a while since I last made a video. In fact, I think it was my E3 hype video from last year. That's the last video I made. But I'm back for E3 2018 this time. Today I'm going to talk about my predictions for EA's press conference at E3 this year. This is a big E3 for many of the publishers. EA's got a few things coming, and I believe they have a few things up their sleeves as well. Let's jump into their predictions. First up, I think we're going to see Anthem shown off. I don't think it's going to be anything big. I think it'll be a small reveal and not really substantial in terms of gameplay. If you think back to a couple of years ago at E3 2016, I believe, when they showed off Mass Effect Andromeda, they only showed a very small portion of the game, and then they said that they would show more later that year. I think we'll see something similar with Anthem, as it has a 2019 release date now. I do believe we will see a little bit from Anthem, but then they will promise more details to come in the fall. I think it'll follow a very similar path as Andromeda. Hopefully it doesn't follow the same path as the quality that Andromeda ended up being. While we're on the BioWare train, I think we will also see the new Dragon Age officially revealed. And here's the interesting thing. I think that there's a possibility that Dragon Age could actually come out this fall as opposed to coming out after Anthem. Here's why. Dragon Age Inquisition came out in 2014. It's been 4 years since that game came out. That's plenty of time for a Dragon Age game. That the Dragon Age team is separate from the team at BioWare that's making Anthem. So I think that's plenty of time that they will be ready to show Dragon Age and possibly even release it in the fall. If it's not coming in the fall, I can't see it coming any later than spring of next year, which would mean that Anthem would probably be fall of next year. So that's something to keep your eye on there. While we're still on the subject of BioWare, I think we will also see a Mass Effect trilogy remastered for Xbox One, PS4, and PC. Now, EA in the past hasn't been a big fan of remasters. However, recently they have started to make some, like Burnout Paradise, for instance. I think they're actually going to finally get back and make this trilogy remastered because it is such a demanded thing by the fans. After Andromeda kind of failed completely last year, I think EA needs some goodwill with the Mass Effect brand. That would help them do that, and I think we will see it this year. Another intriguing game to me is the Criterion game that has been rumored online as some sort of melee combat type game. Kind of an interesting thing coming from Criterion, who has a historic tradition of making racing games. And in fact, more recently, they helped make Battlefront's dogfighting, for instance, in the space battles. But super interesting. I don't think we see it at E3 this year, because Criterion is kind of a small team now. They're not as big as they once were. And they also showed off a few years ago that extreme sports game that they showed off way too early, and it ended up being canceled. I don't think they'll make that same mistake again here, and I don't think we'll see Criterion at E3 this year. Another game that I think we're unlikely to see this year would be a new Need for Speed. Last year we got Need for Speed Payback. In 2015, before that, we got the Need for Speed reboot from Ghost Games. I don't think we will see a new one this year because it seems that they're going back to the well and doing like a 2-year dev cycle, and they're not going to annualize that franchise anymore. So I think maybe we'll see something from Need for Speed next year. I don't think we'll see anything from it this year, though. While we're on the topic of obvious predictions, I'm obviously going to just predict that the EA Sports titles are all going to be shown off, as they always are every year. However, I do think we will see a story mode in every single EA Sports franchise: NFL, NHL, NBA, and FIFA. I think we will see story modes in all of those, following the success of the story mode in Madden and also in FIFA as well. So I think that's super intriguing. The Madden career mode was kind of an interesting take, so I'm excited to see what else they can do on that front. Next up, I think we're also going to see the new Battlefield game that is sort of rumored as Battlefield V right now. That's kind of the internal rumor as it is. It's supposed to be a World War II game, which is super interesting for me because Battlefield 1942, 1943, those were freaking awesome games. Those were really fun. And I'm really excited because I love piloting helicopters in Battlefield games. So Battlefield 1 was kind of missing that for me. I really like Battlefield 1 and what they did with it. However, I love flying helicopters and I want to get back in that helicopter. So super excited to see more from Battlefield V, as it's called right now. And I'm sure we'll get a very big look at that at E3 this year. There's also some interesting rumors about Battlefield V, including them testing right now a Battle Royale mode. There's a lot of talk of that in the industry right now with the success of Fortnite and PUBG. Call of Duty, the new Call of Duty game is rumored to have that as well, Black Ops 4. So it's going to be interesting to see. I think Battlefield suits itself a little better for that because you already have mechanics where you use parachutes in the Battlefield games when you bail out of helicopters and planes and all of that. So it's going to be super interesting to see from the Battlefield front if they can make a map that's interesting enough for Battle Royale. That will be something to keep an eye on at E3 as well. Another interesting thing is EA at their most recent press conferences of E3, they've started to lean into those little indie developers and really are pushing them on their stage. I think that this year we will see a sequel to a game that a lot of people liked. I really liked it. I think we will see Unravel 2 officially revealed and announced for either late summer or early fall this year, possibly like August, maybe into September possibly, but I really think the first game was kind of a little hit, so EA is definitely going to take advantage of that franchise and kind of push out a sequel from that independent developer. My last set of predictions for E3 kind of go hand in hand. First, I think we're going to see Respawn's Star Wars game officially revealed. We're going to see some gameplay, I think, and a pretty good chunk of that as well. I think we're going to finally figure out what that game is actually going to entail and what that story is going to follow. That's going to be an interesting one to watch after the cancellation of the Visceral Star Wars game and Amy Hennig. It's going to be very interesting to see what they have to show and how it's different than Battlefront, let's say. So the other thing I am thinking for Star Wars is I think that EA has one last trick up its sleeve for their press conference. I think that they're going to have some other studio, possibly EA Motive, who helped on Star Wars Battlefront 2, put out some kind of teaser for a new Star Wars game. The reason being is because almost every year they've shown off more than just one Star Wars game. Last year it was Battlefront 2, and I believe they showed off a little bit more Visceral Star Wars game as well, even before it was canceled. So I do think we will see another Star Wars game on stage with Respawn's game, and it could come from EA Motive since they just helped with Battlefront 2's development. That'll be something very interesting to watch. Maybe even like a space dogfighting thing. A lot of people really like that in Battlefront and want it like more fleshed out, kind of like Rogue Squadron back in the day. So that'll be something to watch as well. That's it, guys. That's my predictions for EA's press conference at E3 this year. Tell me what you guys think is going to happen at their press conference. Leave it in the comments below. Like, subscribe, share this video. I would really appreciate it. If you want to tell me what you think, you can follow me at DanisDTM on Twitter, DTM on Xbox, and DTM3000 on PlayStation Network. Any of those places you can find me. Just hit me up with a follow and I'll get back to you. My next video is going to be my predictions for Microsoft's press conference at E3 this year. We'll see more about what Xbox has to show, and there's a lot of intriguing things coming in that video. Stay tuned for that. See you guys next time.